It's whatever we feel, whatever we wanna do. It's whatever we feel. It's whatever we wanna do. It's whatever we feel, whatever we wanna do. It's a thing I wanna do. It's a thing I wanna do. I'm doing it. It's just a thing I wanna do. It's a thing I wanna. Here's the band. I've been closing up shop. I've been winning when they said that I would not die. They said that I'm too old of them, babe. I've been answering the call for 'em. I keep playing them games. You can address me by all three of my names, 'cause I'm getting official about it, babe. I've been all kinds of diligent. Now it's just what I feel. It's whatever I wanna do.
You my heart, and then the very next day you gave it away. What this year to save me from tears? I gave it to somebody special. Well, last Christmas I gave you my heart, and then the very next day you gave it away. Oh, this year to save me from tears, I gave it to somebody special.
Talk it up, half empty cup, half-hearted love, half of the time, halfway through crying. She don't live there by herself, sleeping.
Hey,
Hi there.
there she is.
What's up?
Samantha Bowers,
How are you?
better known as Sammy Rae, is here. How are you doing?
I am so well. How are you doing?
Good, 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 good. So let me just figure this out. Okay, there we go. So look at,
Would you rather me in headphones with a microphone?
you sound good. You sound great. You sound great. You look cool. You have a cool plant there. Nice little compound. Good energy. It's all good, Sam.
Thanks.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, Sammy Rae, of course, of the Sammy Rae and Friends. Let's Throw a Party, an EP, January 22nd, out.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just suggest, Sammy, to American people out there and to my audience, tired of the news, tired of the headlines,
Yeah.
to just turn off the TV, put this amazing band on, put on our dear guest here and her friends and her band, and just have a good time. Just dance,
That's the idea. That was kind of the thinking behind this EP. Really
Yeah.
kind of upbeat, heartfelt, emotional, dancey songs with themes we thought everyone could relate to. There's Whatever We Feel, which is a song about just doing whatever you feel and being yourself. Living Room Floor is about kind of finding comfort in your space, kind of enjoying the present moment,
Yeah.
being at peace with your home. Jackie Onassis is kind of a love song and a friendship song and a female empowerment song. Creo Lo Sientes is it's just a happy, feel good, dancey kind of love song about the early stages of a relationship. And Let's Throw a Party kind of sums it all up. It's a tune about kind of recognizing and being at peace with like the chaos all around you, kind of through the lens of getting older and aging, but in a broader sense, just kind of being at peace with time carrying on, and whatever's going on, we may as well throw a party and enjoy
Exactly.
it. So
Exactly.
that was a good idea for the title track of the record.
Exactly, Sammy. So yeah, I mean, we want to talk about the new tracks. We got a lot of ground to cover, but yeah, I would tell the people to start with The Good Life and just take it from there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But Sammy, okay, let's start with the low-hanging fruit. Let's start with the low-hanging fruit. I mean, in November, like late November, I mean, you chatted with the Evans brothers, with Scott and Chris. Pretty epic video. At this point, it like went viral. And they were absolute fans of your music, Sammy. I mean, look, if nothing else, Captain America loves your music, right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're just wonderful people. We kind of struck up this relationship online because they were just big fans and they wanted to connect. And I think that our brand and our platform lends itself to kind of encouraging organic relationships between people. And
Yeah.
something we try to drive home is that everybody's a person. Everybody wants to be friends with somebody. Everybody wants to feel welcome. Everybody wants to feel like they have a place in this world. And I was glad to have developed this friendship with those two. And then to see them just come on and hang out in their house with me, I thought was an awesome testament to that. Chris Evans is a mega superstar, and Scott Evans is a mega superstar, and
I'm just sitting, here in my house making my music, but it's just about friendship. It's just about people
Yeah,
being people. Everybody's just a person, and they're the
yeah,
kind of people that from that live and from what else I've gathered through our time knowing each other, they're everything you hope they are. They're just wonderful people inside and out.
that's great. Great to hear, Sammy. And but you know what amazes me about you, Sammy? You never gave up. Even when you were working, paying for your own record, when you were sleeping on the couch in Brooklyn at Flux Studios, do you ever wonder if this fight that you developed, this grit, were almost like a good thing for you than like if you would have made it like at 13 years old or something like that?
I think so. It was certainly hard fought, but I, I don't know. I think I had this mentality which maybe was dangerous and might be dangerous to some people, but I never imagined that there was another avenue for me. From the time I was maybe 18, it was like, well, I'm going to move to New York. I'm going to start a band. It's going to be large. We're going to sell out a lot of rooms. I'm going to be successful. I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. And that was kind of just it for me. And I wouldn't really accept anything less. And I don't mean that to sound
No,
pretentious, but
it's
I had
great.
this thing so clearly in my head that I knew that I couldn't do it for free, and I had to generate funds and I had to meet people. So I was working my restaurant job and my nannying job and a canvassing job, and it was kind of like every minute that I was there, especially when I was waitressing, I was thinking about like every dollar I made in tips was going to go towards the studio. And every
Yeah,
every time I got paid from the nannying family, that was going to go to the studio. That was going to go to record production. Every single minute of my life and every dollar that came into my possession, it was. I didn't know if I was gonna be able to do it in 6 months or in 3 years, but I was just thinking about this is the only thing I'm allowed to spend my money on because I have to start somewhere. And then I would
yeah,
come home and I'd be so tired, but I would force myself to go to these venues and these open mics and generate relationships and meet
yeah.
people. It was just so important to me that I spent every single minute focusing on this thing so I could get there as soon as possible, whenever that was. I don't know that it's yeah, I think that grit is really good. Sometimes people have things come to them at a very young age, but I'm very grateful for how much I had to work for it, how hard I had to work for it, and I think because it's so grassroots and it was so established by the fact that there was just this really authentic fan base, speaks volumes. We just have great people around us that support us and want us to do well, and if we can continue to make them feel welcomed and make them feel that gratitude, they'll continue to support us and we can continue to grow. That's the thought process.
Absolutely. No, it's true. It's funny because you mentioned that because my producer Samantha, when we were doing the research, she said this chick Sammy reminds me of Steven Spielberg. So that's not my thought; it's hers. She said because this guy used to lock himself in the trailer when he was like 7. He would like weasel his way into the studios. He knew he wanted to be a director. Where focus goes, energy flows, kind of thing. So,
Yeah.
absolutely, Sammy. So yeah, I mean, and to that point, you were singing nursery rhymes since you were a baby. When you were in middle school, you start, starring in the musicals of your middle school years. What memory do you have, Sammy, of like, being the star of the middle school, you know, play?
um,
Your first brush with the stage there.
Well, yeah, I started doing theater when I was about 7. And it wasn't actually at my school environment, it was at another theater that was not far from my hometown. And I wasn't always the star. And when I did get a chance to have a role where I could kind of be in the center of the stage, it was really encouraging because I didn't necessarily feel like the star of my school environment. Like I wasn't the star of like my friend group. Like I didn't have a lot of lasting
Interesting.
friendships. And I don't at this point have any relationships to anyone from elementary, middle school, high school, college. Some people from college, but it's just not relationships that I've
Yeah.
maintained over the years. Because I don't think I could fully, I was really fully myself until I came to New York and started to work on this journey of making of kind of carving this way and forming this band that we have now. But when I was young and I was on stage in the theatrical sense, it was a really great outlet for me, not just because people were looking at me, but I got a chance to like portray somebody that was not myself.
Mm,
And I've used this analogy before, where like if I'm playing, the enemy, the villain or the bad guy, it was like I could get all of that out on stage and then go back to my life and like be not the bad guy.
yeah.
And know, I didn't feel like I had a lot of friends or I could be, the starring romantic lead. When I did get a chance to do that, it kind of sustained me in the real world. But I started to
Right.
realize as I got a little bit older that I did want to portray sort of a character like a persona on stage, but I wanted it to be based on myself. And that's what we have now in front of the friends when we're on stage.
Love it, Sammy. And of course, you're talking about New York being so transformational for you. It sure as heck was. I mean, but I want to talk about Manhattan College, because you're doing your broadcasting major, you're an education student, and then you like, at some point you said, you know what, like this is just not where I'm going.
Yeah.
Was that an easy decision for you? Like, or do you remember like a moment where you're like, that's it, my break point is here? Like, was there a moment or was it gradual?
Well, first of all, you really did your research. You seem to know. You seem
Sammy,
to know
Sammy, what do you
everything.
mean? I'm talking to the great Sammy Rae.
I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, I think I had done a year of college in Connecticut, or I was studying sound engineering and music production. I was going to be a mixing engineer, and then I got this thing in my head that like, I can't do music in college. I don't guess I'm not supposed to be a musician. So I went to Manhattan in the Bronx to study education, and that didn't pan out. I couldn't see myself being a part of the public education system. So I figured, okay, let me try broadcasting, so I don't have to switch schools again.
Right.
And all the while, somebody I had formed a relationship with when I was in Connecticut as a freshman had gotten a job at Flux Studios and invited me to come down and kind of just get a feel for the studio, get a feel for that environment. And I started making some material there and just kind of hanging around and realized that those were sort of the people I wanted to be around. That was the atmosphere I wanted to be in. So
Yeah.
that kicked off that period you talked about where I was like sleeping at the studio and sleeping on the train and rushing back to go to class and to work my different jobs. Yeah, but if there was one breaking point, I told this story earlier this week to a friend, actually. I was in a Western civilization class and I just couldn't care less because at this point in my brain, I was like, if
Yeah.
I'm paying X amount
You
to go
saw the
to,
light.
yeah, if I'm paying X amount of money to go to school per semester, then each class costs this much money. And I could afford so many hours at the studio with that much money. And I showed up like really ill prepared. I didn't have any materials on my desk. And I always kind of never felt it was my right to question authority. I never necessarily did that. I was just kind of the kid that like listened. And suddenly I realized I had nothing on my desk. I wasn't paying attention. I'm staring out the window and my professor said something to me like, Miss Bowers, do you want to be in this class? And I was like, no, sir, I don't. And he said, well, then, why are you wasting our time? And I was like, you know what? I am wasting his time, and I'm wasting the time of my classmates. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, no, I'm not sure, sir. And he said, well, you need to leave. And I left. And then he sent me an email that was, your behavior today was unacceptable. I need to see you in my office hours later today. And I emailed him back, and I was like, you know what? I can't come to your office hours because I have two jobs and I'm working on something downtown that really means something to me.
Right.
And that moment of you have to be in my class and you have to pay attention and then I need to yell at you, you have to come to my office during my time when I say you can come.
No,
I felt really
you're
overwhelmed.
free. You liberated yourself from the inside.
So I emailed him back and I was like, you really did something big for me today. I'll be withdrawing from the college tomorrow. And the next day I went and started the paperwork and decided to leave.
Yes. Oh my
I told
God.
my parents originally I need to take a break and focus on this thing. And I think that they had hope for a while that I would go back. And I told them that I would when it felt like the time was right. But pretty immediately, once I had all of that time all the money I was making was going towards the project I was working on, and I could
I
focus
love
so
it.
much on that. It really started to pick up, and here we are now. And obviously, my parents realize that there's nothing else I'm going to do with my life, so I'm not going back to college, and
Yeah.
they're in full support, which is great.
Yeah. No, Sammy, you have no idea. Like, this is such a great message that you're giving.
Thank you.
You don't even realize it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we love it. We love it, Sammy. But I wanted to ask you. I mean, we have so much stuff to talk about, and I know you're a busy gal. But listen, your live presence is like one of the best things I've seen. Okay, it is like you guys live take it to like 11, to quote Spinal
Thanks.
Tap. But I do want to ask you about your ritual to get in state before you get into the stage. Like what do you eat? Do you listen to music? Do you start shaking your body? Do you meditate? How do you get into that peak state before you you hit the stage?
Um, I mean, when we play shows when we're going to perform, we're a band and we're 8 people, and so we travel to that place together, and we will eat meals together, and we'll wake up at a hotel together. So there's this community environment around me, which is really encouraging, because not only are these people my bandmates and my colleagues and my coworkers, but we're really very much a family. Like, these are my best friends. So
Right.
feeling that support from them is really special. And before every show, well, in terms of what I eat, like, I'm gonna avoid soda or coffee or pizza, and that's special, to be able to think about what I'm putting into my body, and the fact that I'm stretching, I'm getting enough sleep. These things for a couple of days beforehand is really grounding. And
Sure.
then right before we get on stage, we always have a huddle where we kind of circle up, and it just flows really naturally. But one of us will say something, like, to address the group, and it's not always me, and typically it's not me. But I will always, put a button on it at the end. But we pride ourselves on giving everybody a chance to feel seen and appreciated in our audience, and we do that at home as well before we get on stage. So somebody will say something, um, I'll put a button on it, and then we go out on stage with like glitter face paint on our faces.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Like,
can remember the show where this started. It was a show in New York a couple years ago, where I was trying to find something interesting about our stage presence, like what makes us interesting when you look at us. And we were playing with solid colors, all black, different face paints, funny things. And somehow I just came up on this little bit of glitter. It's kind of small, but you can see it if you're looking at the whole audio, the whole band,
yes.
if you're looking for it. So when we're in this circle, somebody will say something, I'll say something, and then we carry this little thing of glitter, and I'll put some on the person next to me, and they'll put some on the person next to them. And it's kind of just this moment of, like, not like battle paint, but like,
Right.
we are inducting ourselves into this thing. We're going to go out there and do this thing. And so long as this is on our face, we have to be really present for each other
Yes.
and really present for everybody else. So,
I
so
love it.
that's kind of the grounding moment. And I don't necessarily like to spend too much time by myself right before we go on stage, like meditating or sitting in the mirror or whatever. I like to be as present with the opening band, the stage hands, and my band
Cool.
as possible. And then we just get out there. But as soon as I see everyone out there and I hear that cheering, is this switch that I can't make anywhere else in my world, where I suddenly stop being Sam Bowers, and
Yeah. You become you.
I start being
Your
Sammy Rae.
purpose.
It's not necessarily not me, but it's just kind of an amplification of certain
Sure.
aspects of my
Oh
personality.
my God, that's wonderful. As you were telling me that story, I totally saw the huddle as you were growing in the bigger stages. Like,
Yeah.
as you go into, like, performing in Glastonbury, which you will, like, stage stuff like that, I see the huddle remaining, keeping you guys, like, to your values, and I love that. I love that.
Thank
Great
you.
imagery, Sammy. Yeah, absolutely. So you've been so generous with your time. I do want to play a little game before I let you go, but let's quickly talk about a few of the new songs, because they're so damn good, right? And I think you quickly touched on them, but Creolo Sientes, you said it was about the beginning of a relationship. It has that trademark sound that you guys have, but it has a little bit of salsa, a little bit of that Miami kind of vibe to it. I love it. I love it. I imagine you speak Spanish, right? Because your accent's phenomenal.
Sí, gracias.
There you go. There you go. Did you always have in mind to put a little Latin flavor on this one somewhere?
Well, yes. It's a testament to all the different talents of all the different people in our project. And actually, 2 members of the band are Spanish speaking language first. So they learned English as they were getting older. So they were born into Spanish speaking households. And our bassist grew up in Miami, very much surrounded by Spanish speakers, and was speaking Spanish kind of at the same time growing up.
Right.
So in the last 2 or so years, Seabass Chiriboga, who is he speaks and is featured on this song, is our percussionist. He's they're all my dear friends, but Seabass is a very, very special person in my life. And I found that he and I could communicate in English, and we could communicate in music, but being able to communicate with him in Spanish as well was important to me. It was an
Yeah.
aspect of personality I wanted to share, and I also wanted to make myself more present to our Spanish speaking listeners. And it's funny, as I started to learn Spanish in the last 2 years, I discovered You know, I have my sense of humor in English, I have my characteristics and traits when I sing, but I have a sense of humor and a personality in Spanish, which is entirely different. I love that. I love discovering myself in that way. So I've been actively learning Spanish for the last 2 years, and I knew that we wanted to make a song that had Spanish lyrics.
Wonderful.
So as we started putting that together, the first thing that came to me was this creo lo sientes pero no sé. I think you feel it, but I'm not sure. I don't know.
Right.
And I kind
Yeah,
of
that's a universal. We all, regardless of the language, like,
Yes,
you know.
exactly. Exactly. So I started basing the whole kind of vision and theme of the song around that one line. And I knew that we wanted to pay homage to our bassist JQ's upbringing in Miami, and Seabass's upbringing in a Spanish speaking household, and Kaya's upbringing in a Spanish speaking household. So it's really percussion heavy. And the special thing is a lot of these percussion instruments we own and we've purchased on our travels both as a band and individuals to South American and Latin American countries. So it was
Yeah.
also a special way for us to go into the studio and connect in a real way to the places and the people that we visited. For instance, we had a short tour in Brazil about a year and a half ago. And we
Yeah.
purchased all of those instruments there. So being
So
able to
great.
reconnect to those experiences in a real way, in the way that we brought the song to life with all that percussion, was special to us.
Oh my God, so great, Sammy. It's a great song, but I gotta tell you, obviously, let's throw a party. I just have to tell you about this song. It just blows my mind. It's just like it's incredible. I mean, it's the last song, but that second half, Sammy, like that 2 minute 16 mark when the piano and your voice are like the only remaining elements, and then the guitar solo picks up. Oh my God, Sammy, like it makes you want to run a marathon. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's
Yes.
like, and you're like, okay, oh, let's throw a party. Somebody's turning 30, woo, and we haven't looked this good since we don't see since when. It's like, okay, where are we going?
Yeah.
Where are we going, Sammy Rae? But anyway, but the question about the song is, the song ends on a quieter note. It's like a flash bulb that shines really bright, and then it kind of dims. Um,
Yes.
and you ask the question, where does it go? As we grow old, fighting for time, finding what's mine, and you very beautifully repeat this question over and over again. I have to ask you about this ending to the EP.
Sure. Um, well, again, this tune comes in I think at the right time for me, for the band, and for the audience, where there's so much going on. There's so much I mean, especially in the United States, there's so much political turbulence, there's so much tragic loss of life, there's so much social unrest. I also think a lot about, I think deeply about environmental issues, and there's so much going on globally that we could be doing better to be
I
preserving.
can't imagine. It's like we
the
don't even have the bandwidth for that. I can't even imagine. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I think sometimes about how all these things are kind of just slipping through our fingers and we feel really powerless and we can't really help them, right? We can't really, it's difficult to find ways to be proactive, I should say.
Yeah.
And this tune again is kind of just throw caution to the wind and throw a party while all these things are going on. We can't necessarily
Mm,
stop them, so we may as well be at peace and just kind of enjoy this time. But then when we get to the end of the song, this
yeah.
where does it go as we grow old, fighting for time, fighting with mine? I think most directly in my brain, and then it took on a larger life, was influenced by this idea of as we're getting older, as time is passing, this like childhood wonder, or the trees in our backyard, or the people that we love that are no longer with us. Like
Right.
where do those things go?
Yeah.
You know? And
Damn.
as we're fighting for time, feeling like we need to grab more to be better about how we're impacting the world around us.
My God. Yeah, that's very powerful. Now that you mention it, it definitely hits it on the head. It's sobering. It's a little sobering.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good word. And I think it's really beautifully delivered. We made this decision to have the entire band singing, which I thought was another moment of driving home the point of community and welcoming the audience in that special way. We do this in a few different songs where we have vocal moments on recordings where the entire band is singing, and then we allow the audience to sing that when they're with us, and that's always a really special grounding and communal moment. And I thought about what I wanted to hear the entire audience singing, and it was things like, where does it go as we grow old? Let's admit that we don't necessarily know what's going on,
Right.
but fighting for time, finding what's ours. That's important as well. We may as well throw a party while all this is going on, but let us not forget, like these things have happened. You know, where do they go? What
Amazing.
happens as we get older and time passes on? Where does that time go? You know?
Incredible.
So hopefully
Absolutely, Sam.
reeling it back in from the chaos and provoking thought at the end there. Not in such a way that it ought to somber the audience.
No, no, no. You did it like you
Sober
tipped the
them.
line very elegantly. It's like you didn't lose your essence. Like you did perfect. Amazing.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Sammy. All right, I'm gonna let you go, but we're gonna play one final game. It's called Reverse the Verse. It's called Reverse the Verse, and we're gonna play 3 10-second snippets of your songs
Okay.
in reverse,
Okay.
and we're gonna see how well you know this song, your own music.
Okay. Okay.
We've had all kinds of results with this. You know, we've had 0 for 3s, 3 for 3s, like the whole thing. All right, so let's do this. Let's start. Let's
I hope I do well. I'm a pretty involved part of the mixing and production process, so I spend a lot of time with these audio files, and I hope that I don't embarrass myself.
All right. All right, let me just open it up. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Jesus. Once.
Number one.
Are you ready?
Yes.
All right.
I hope to God that's the feeling.
It is the feeling. Good job. Yes.
That la 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 in there gave it away.
Oh God. All right. Let's do the second one.
I love it. I'm anxious. I hope I don't lose.
No, you're doing good. You're already doing better than half of our guests. All right, here we go. And away we go. 10 seconds.
Is it Last Christmas?
Yes, it is Last Christmas. Sammy Rae. Yeah, passing score already. Good for you.
Oh, the saxophone line helped. All right, great.
Now you're just going for the bragging rights here.
Yep, let's do it.
Oh my God. Okay. But you already did better than 80% of the people. Let's do this. All right. Last one. Sammy Rae, reverse the verse.
Don't blow it. Is it Jackie Onassis?
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. 3 for 3. Look
Okay,
at
that
you.
was easy though because I do this.
Okay.
That and it's when you play it backwards, it's almost the same.
It's almost the same. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Right.
My God. Well, listen, Samantha Bowers, Sammy Rae, it's been a pleasure having you on your way up to where we know where you're going. What a fantastic EP. Let's throw a party January 22nd. What a treat.
Yay. Thank you so much, A-Rod. It was a pleasure to be here today, and I appreciate all your kind words. I'm looking so forward to getting deeper into some more of your content, and hopefully
Wonderful.
this is well received, and hopefully people dig the EP. So thank you.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye-bye.